On this day, in 17th November 1989, the Velvet Revolution begins in Prague. Peaceful protests against communist rule spread across the country. Students and citizens demand freedom and democracy. The revolution ends with the fall of communism in Czechoslovakia. It symbolizes unity through non-violent change. Subscribing for more content and help us to 1,000 subs. On this day, in 18th of November 1803, the Battle of Vertières takes place. Haitian forces defeat French troops in a decisive battle. This leads to Haiti becoming the first independent Black republic. The victory inspires anti-slavery movements worldwide. Vertières is a symbol of resilience and freedom. Subscribing for more content and help us to 1,000 subs. On this day, in 19th November 1969, Apollo 12 lands on the Moon. Astronauts Charles Conrad and Alan Bean perform a lunar EVA. They explore the Moon's surface and collect samples. Apollo 12 marks NASA's second successful lunar landing. It demonstrates advancing human exploration in space. Subscribing for more content and help us to 1,000. On this day, in 20th November 1945, the Nuremberg trials begin. Major Nazi leaders face charges for war crimes and genocide. It sets the foundation for modern international law. The trials symbolize justice after W.B. atrocities. The world learns about the Holocaust through these proceedings. Subscribing for more content and help us to 1,000 subscribers. On this day in 21st November 1973, the Paris Peace Accords are signed. It officially ends U.S. involvement in the Vietnam War. A ceasefire agreement is reached between North and South Vietnam. The accords mark a turning point in Cold War diplomacy. It remains a controversial chapter in global politics. Subscribing for more content and help us to 1,000 subs. On this day, in 22nd November 1963, President John F. Kennedy was assassinated. The tragic event occurs during a motorcade in Dallas, Texas. Lee Harvey Oswald is arrested as the alleged shooter. JFK's death shocks America and the world. It remains one of the most studied events in U.S. history. Subscribing for more content and help us to 1,000 subs. On this day, in 23rd November 1942, the Soviet Union defeats Germany at Stalingrad. It is a turning point in World War II on the Eastern Front. The battle involves brutal urban warfare and immense casualties. Soviet forces encircle and defeat the German Sixth Army. Stalingrad becomes a symbol of resilience and sacrifice. Subscribing for more content and help us to 1,000 subs. On this day in 24 November 1974, the Lucy fossil is discovered in Ethiopia. She is a 3.2 million-year-old Australopithecus afarensis skeleton. Lucy provides critical insight into early human evolution. This discovery changes the understanding of human ancestry. Ethiopia becomes central to global paleoanthropological studies. Subscribing for more content and help us to 1,000 subs. On this day in 25 November 1963, the funeral of President John F. Kennedy took place. It was attended by leaders from over 90 nations in Washington, D.C. Millions across the world watched this somber event on live TV. JFK's assassination left the world in shock and grief. His legacy as a Cold War leader continues to inspire many today. On this day, in 26th November 1942, Casablanca premiered in New York City. The film starred Humphrey Bogart and Ingrid Bergman in a timeless love story. It was set during War, emphasizing love and sacrifice in wartime. The movie became a cultural icon and a classic of Hollywood's golden age. Its famous quote, "Here's looking at you, kid," remains legendary. On this day, in 27th of November 1095, Pope Urban II launched the First Crusade. The goal was to reclaim Jerusalem from Muslim control. It marked a turning point in medieval Christian and Islamic relations. Thousands of knights and commoners joined the march to the Holy Land. This crusade shaped centuries of European and Middle Eastern history. On this day, in 28 November 1919, the League of Nations was established. It was created after World War I to prevent future global conflicts. Its mission was to promote international peace and cooperation. Despite its failure, it laid the groundwork for the United Nations. Its legacy is still reflected in modern diplomacy. On this day, in 29 November 1947, the United Nations voted on Resolution 181. This resolution proposed the partition of Palestine into Jewish and Arab states. It led to the establishment of Israel in May 1948. The decision was celebrated by Jews but rejected by Arabs, leading to conflict. This moment remains a turning point in Middle Eastern history. On this day, in 30th of November 1939, the Winter War began between Finland and the Soviet Union. The Soviets launched an invasion after failed territorial negotiations. Finnish forces used guerrilla tactics to hold back the larger Soviet army. The war exposed the weaknesses of the Soviet military. It set the stage for later developments in WTB's northern front,